Hey guys, and welcome. Grim Reaper here. We got ourselves another episode of Reaper's Review, and we're going to be talking about Scream 6. What did I think of it? Did I like it? Did I not like it? You know, all that good stuff. And you guys let me know in the comments below what you thought about the movie franchise as well. And yeah, let's get into this. Well, Scream 6 slashes went to theaters. That's right, I used a pun, so what? In theaters this weekend with some creepy marketing that made headlines a few weeks before. If you've seen this on Instagram, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There were people around the cities, in certain cities, wearing the Ghostface costume, just standing there in the corner with the fake knife, just standing there in street corners. People called cops, and cops came running up and came up, of course, and were not made aware of what was going on. They had no idea this was a marketing plan. And, you know, came in, you know, like, okay, what's going on? It basically should have been, they should have given them a heads up, like, hey, we're going to be doing a marketing plan for the movie, blah, blah, we're going to have some, no, none of that at all. So, yeah, that was kind of crazy. All right, was this movie worth it for the franchise, the entry-wise, or was it just pointless? Every movie has a pointless entry, every movie has a movie that get entered in there, you're like, oh, was our perfect entry. Let's see. Let's start with the feel and the tone of this movie. Pays homage to the first movie, the first Scream, of course, obviously, with some nice twists, and feels like a Scream movie in every way, and is a very good thing. With some minor changes here. The opening sequence definitely starts off like a regular Scream movie, really solid, but a more is the victim is, it starts off with somebody basically who's not really alone. They're surrounded by people. That's one change right there. Two, they're lured out. Ooh, couldn't even get that word out. Lured out into the open. That's their change. And then, you know, I'm not going to give away a little bit more. That's about it. There's a few more twists here and there. But yeah, just when you thought that was it, then we don't get the Scream title right away. It continues on. Then we get the Scream. So that was a big twist, but it was a big nice homage to the original Scream with some reminiscent moments there and there. But that definitely gave us a little something fresh for the franchise that we haven't seen in a minute. So let's keep everything, you know, they keep a lot of things from the original Scream movies in this one to keep it, you know, all the regular fans, you know, something that they're familiar with. But still add some stuff and some twists and stuff like that for all the new people out there and for all the older people to give them something fresh to look at. And of course, we get some familiar music cues and some familiar yet different scenes, and you just get called back to certain scenes from previous Scream movies, which was really cool because it did for me. When I heard certain music cues, I was transported to different movie scenes that were kind of similar, and I was kind of like, oh, that was kind of cool. The guessing game for moviegoers is still a fun part. That's my favorite part of these movies, is like, who's going to be the killer? This actually keeps you guessing and second guessing your guesses. I've done that. This one had me guessing more than the other ones. The other ones I was kind of close. One of them I was kind of like right on. And I didn't change it that much. I changed it like once or twice, but I really stuck onto that one. The other ones I might have guessed them and then changed my mind multiple times with other people. And when I found out, I was like, damn it, I was right. Why did I change my mind? This one, same thing. I guess. I shouldn't have changed my mind. I thought so, but I wasn't sure. Things like that. So I like when they do something like that, where they throw you under the bus. I try to keep in mind. I don't go into oh, I know who it is. So for horror movies, I really don't like doing any behind the scenes readings because I want to, get into this is what's going on. I want to be surprised and caught off guard. All right, cast wise, well, of course, we're reunited with the original cast from the last movie, which is cool. Now we got a legacy character and a semi-legacy character. People are like, oh, she's a legacy character. She's semi-legacy. And I'm talking about Kirby. She was in Scream 4. She's not a legacy. She's semi-legacy. Legacy from 1, 2, and 3, that's legacy. 4, she's only one movie, so it's semi-legacy. And yes, and it takes the same path as Scream 2. Took us out of Woodsboro. This time we're going to the Big Apple. Like Jason, it takes Manhattan. And this one's not all on a college campus like Part 2 was. Part 2 is mostly on a college campus. And yes, so we get some new characters from from the posters. I've seen people making some guesses on who it could be. Some were close, some were particularly off, some are partially correct. But yes, I love seeing I'm not the only one who's trying to guess just off the posters who could it be. And I think that's the best part. The best part of going to these movies is trying to guess who it is, and other people that you talk to. Oh, I think it's gonna be so and so. So it's kind of fun to see when you see other people do the same thing you are. This one we get to see Tara going into therapy and dealing with the trauma that she has, and her past issues of who her father is, stuff like that. Now, her sister, on the other hand, chooses to ignore it all. She just like, whatever that happened. I want to live my life. I don't want that to be something that defined me or something that is part of my life. I just move past it, kind of thing. And so she's not really dealing with it in a healthy kind of way. The twins are dealing with it, but aren't as emotionally broken as Tara or what's her name. They're messed up, but they're not as messed up, which is kind of crazy, because yes, they were attacked. Yes, they survived, but they're not. But they are more like closer knit now because of that. They're what they've dealt with, and it's kind of crazy to see that, even though they know that their uncle had met his demise at the hand of a killer wearing the Ghostface mask, and you figured there would be a little bit more, but no, they're dealing with it, and I think it's kind of cool to see that their past didn't define them on being scary like that. They became more like their uncle, really like movie buffs, especially horror buffs, just like he was. And the fact that these guys are now all set and they're already close together is what sets up this whole movie with how they're dealing with what's going to be going on in the events. And we don't see they're how really close they are. We don't see that how close they are. So after the first killing, we they see it on the news. Then you see them start to close ranks and get like really like, okay, now I'm hyper aware. They're aware of of each other, trying to keep each other safe. But when this comes out, now they're really hyper aware. They're like, we don't know everybody here. That's our new friend, so we got to be on alert. And we get to see that, and that's really cool because I don't think they really did that in the last couple of movies. I'm trying to remember, because I don't really think they were kind of like that. It was just Cindy was by herself. And Randy, and yeah, they kind of got on alert, but they weren't kind of like, they didn't have a group. It was just them two that were just like, okay, we got to really like focus on what's going on. They didn't really put up a wall. And this one, they're put up a wall, but they're keeping them close because they want to make sure that they're kind of close by, but but not too close, kind of thing. And that I think was another thing that's kind of similar to the other ones. Now, the new supporting characters don't leave much of an impression for me. Just like in the past ones, they really don't leave much of an impression. These supporting characters kind of like, whatever. That same thing with this one. Kirby's Return was a welcome one for sure for all fans who were like, oh my god, she's alive, blah blah. But seeing her love for horror films is still there. But her choosing the path of law enforcement was definitely due to her near-death experience, and I think it was, a solid, pretty good choice of path for her. Would have been kind of crazy to see what she would have done had she not gone to law enforcement, but continued her path for love of horror films and started working in horror movies. That would be kind of crazy, especially with her love for horror movies alone. I think would have been pretty awesome. Now we got the deaths in the movie. Now, in every horror movie, for any fans out there who know what horror movies, there's always the death count's always higher. Blah blah. Like Randy says, death count's always higher. Fans want Carnage Candy, much more elaborate, all that. But yes, Carnage Candy, check. They definitely hit home with that Carnage Candy because, boy, did we get some deaths were like a bit more much than we're used to than the past Scream movies, which is a welcome new addition to that because it's kind of like, okay, what can we do that's more different? The most brutal was definitely Drew Barrymore's death in the first movie, but this one takes the brutality up a little bit more, and it's kind of crazy because that scenes were kind of brutal, but this one takes it up a notch. Dewey was definitely the one that was like wow. and then for them to go up even higher than that was definitely a surprising factor for me. Now, that one, I believe, was like the second gruesome death of them all. This makes almost every kill memorable in this first Scream fans, of course. Okay, the twins' monologue echoes their Uncle Randy's from Scream 2 about the Carnage Candy and the sequels, blah, blah, blah. They give us a lot of Easter eggs and homages to past films. From what I saw in the movie, the most notable ones were towards, of course, were the non-Scream figures. They were basically non-Scream related nods, but the ones that I caught right off the bat, of course, Michael Myers, Pinhead, the Shining twins. I actually caught two girls wearing the Shining costumes, and I was like, oh, the Shining. They got the Babadook was in there. There's a guy dressed like the Babadook. A brief glimpse of a guy who's dressed up like Freddy Krueger. The trophy room was an Easter gasm for sure. That just had gaggles and gaggles of Easter eggs. That I couldn't. It's one of those scenes where you have to pause every few seconds to catch every little bit of Easter eggs at the end there, because there's no way in hell you could kind of first watch. But I know there are more Easter eggs that I didn't catch right away. But yes, those are the ones I caught really quickly. But I know this movie had tons of Easter eggs, knowing them. And yeah, I mean, that was it for all the movies. Overall, this movie, in my opinion, I think was definitely worth the entry into the franchise. And I think welcomed for sure. Story-wise, really well done. The shooting was really well done. The death scenes were really well done. The twists, M. Night Shyamalan worthy, maybe. In my opinion, at least. With all the Easter eggs and homage, it was worth a watch, and definitely worth the entry into the franchise. It ranks pretty high in my thing. If I were to, I should do a ranking one of these days and let you guys see what I think about the rankings of these. But let me know your rankings of the franchises 1 through 6. Wow, 6 movies. 1 through 6. Where they rank for you? You know, give me your rankings. Then let me know what your thoughts are on your process. And everybody's going to be different, so let me know. We'll talk about it the below of you know where we think our rankings would be and how it would be. But let's talk about the numbers. This movie raked in $44,500,000 domestically. That's domestically, and it raked in $22,600,000 internationally, with a worldwide total of $67,100,000 opening weekend on a budget of $35 million. To say this was a successful opening weekend is another statement. This movie broke franchise records, ladies and gentlemen, as the highest in the franchise. The link in the description below to see where these movies ranked on their opening weekends by the numbers. And yeah, I was kind of surprised to see the domestic the box office openings and how much they made on opening weekends versus their totals, plus their budgets. How the budgets changed over the years and how they ended up going higher, and also they dropped them lower because they weren't making as much back. Pretty crazy, but let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys around for more. All right, you guys, you take care. Bye.